So, you want to build something amazing, right? A product, an app, a service that people just absolutely love. Well, to do that, you need to get familiar with one of the most powerful tools in the design world, the user persona. It's really the secret sauce that separates designing for a vague everyone from crafting something perfect for a specific someone. And it all starts with one big question.
This right here. This is the fundamental question. It sounds so simple, doesn't it? But when we're creating something new, it is dangerously easy to fall into this trap, a kind of bias that can sink even the most brilliant idea before it ever gets going. And that trap is assuming that you are the user, that everyone thinks, feels, and acts just like you do.
And this leads us to what we call the designer's blind spot. It's a pitfall that is so common that pretty much every creator runs into it, a lot of the time without even noticing. We really have to get a handle on this blind spot before we can overcome it and build something that actually connects with a real audience.
And there it is. That's the trap, designing for yourself. We call this the designer-centric perspective. It's what happens when we, as the creators, build stuff based on our own habits, our own tech savviness, our own tastes. We just sort of become the default user in our own heads. The problem, of course, is, well, you are not your user.
So how do we get out of this trap? How do we escape our own heads? We need a tool that literally forces us to see the world through someone else's eyes. And that tool, the real hero of our story today, is the user persona. So let's break down exactly what that is.
Okay, so here's the most important thing to get right. A user persona is not an imaginary friend you just made up. Not at all. It's a realistic profile that's built from actual research. We're talking data from surveys, analytics, interviews, observations, the whole shebang. It isn't about who you think your user is. It's about digging in and understanding who they really are.
Let's make this really concrete. Imagine your research points to a key user group, and you boil it down to this: a busy university student who needs a fast and simple way to manage assignments due to limited time. See what just happened? All of a sudden, you're not designing for some vague idea of a student. You're designing for someone with real specific pressures. Fast and simple just became your new mantra.
And that right there, that leads us to the absolute superpower of a user persona. It isn't just a document that sits in a folder somewhere. It's an empathy engine. It's the tool that lets your entire team step into your user's shoes and actually see the world from their point of view.
And this, right here, this is the massive mental shift. Without a persona, our thinking is totally designer-centric. It's all about our personal taste. Oh, this feature is cool, or I like this layout. But with a persona, the whole frame changes. The question is no longer about you, it's about them. It becomes, will this feature actually help our user achieve their goal? It completely reframes every single decision you make.
And look, that reframing is absolutely critical because a persona isn't something you create once and then just file away. It's an active guide, a living, breathing tool that stays with you through the entire design and development process.
I mean, think about the whole journey, right? From the very first brainstorming sessions, to trying to decide which features you're going to build first, to designing the layout and flow, and even into testing the final product. The persona is what keeps everything consistent. It keeps the whole team aligned and laser-focused on the very same user.
And this is what gives you that simple but incredibly powerful filter for every single decision. At every fork in the road, you just have to ask this one question: would this help our persona achieve their goals? This alone prevents you from adding a bunch of useless features and keeps the experience sharp and focused. Of course, and this is a big of course, this only works if your persona is well researched. One based on assumptions is just as bad as designing for yourself.
So what does this all boil down to? What's the ultimate takeaway here? The whole point of this entire process is to move away from designing for some generic, faceless crowd and toward creating something that is deeply, genuinely valuable for a specific, understandable person.
Really, the best way to think about your persona is as your North Star. You know, during the chaotic journey of building a product, when you're juggling deadlines and technical problems and all these conflicting opinions, your persona is that one constant, reliable guide. It keeps you pointed in the right direction and makes sure you never, ever lose sight of who you're really doing all this for.
So, I'm going to leave you with this one question to think about for your next project, your next big idea. Are you designing it for everyone, or are you designing it for someone? Because the most successful, most beloved products out there, they almost always start with someone. Thanks for digging into this with me.